Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back to the MMA Short Show. As always, your boy, Stephen Moustaris. And it is 1:45 in the morning, 1:35 in the morning, something like that. And the UFC 296 literally just finished a couple minutes ago. And guys, I got to be honest with y'all, man. This was one of those fight cards that I think the hype was so big over it. Everybody expectations were so high up. Man, that it just almost felt like the card couldn't deliver. And that's exactly what happened tonight. I felt like it was one of those ones we get so excited for, and it just kind of under delivers and just kind of can honestly be a forgotten card in a lot of people's eyes, man. Let me start off with the good stuff first before I get too crazy on why I kind of was upset with this card. But, one of the I think the two most impressive things of the night by far, you know, not necessarily the Leon Edwards win. I thought it was just how poised Leon Edwards was. For him to just keep his cool out there. All week and even after the press conference, I really thought Colby got under his skin with the whole dad comment, which nobody should ever make. But I thought that was enough. I really thought Leon was going to go out there and fight emotional, get a little too crazy, get a little too aggressive, and that would have been perfect for Colby. And number two as well. Also, one of the more impressive things as well is, maybe Shavkat Rakhmonov, if this is the first time you're watching him, yeah, maybe you're not that impressed by him because he didn't show anything striking tonight. But I thought that was the most impressive thing is for him to put his ego away and to show I know he's 17 and he's got a plenty amount of fights, and I know he's not that new into the UFC anymore, but for such an up-and-comer guy, like, man, for him to prove that he can, follow a game plan, despite, maybe even going out there and being the younger person, being faster and whatnot, maybe he could have actually, really rocked Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. But for him to show, like, hey, I don't need to do that, man. I don't need to do any of this. I don't care about boring you guys. I'm going to go out there, listen to my coaches. I'm not going to give Stephen Wonderboy, a 40-year-old Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, any chance of beating me. I'm just going to make this, nice and easy. And the fact that he got that submission was absolutely phenomenal. But if he doesn't get that in that 10 seconds and then goes on to maybe just grind out a 3-round victory against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, yes, it was phenomenal that he followed the game plan, but I think that might have hurt his stock a little bit. But, man, nothing hurts anybody's stock more than Colby Covington, more than Paddy Pimblett this weekend. Man, I'm telling you guys right now, man, I've never been, to be fair, I've never been more excited or more happier that I got a fight prediction wrong. I did make a video talking about how I thought Colby Covington, I thought he got under Leon Edwards' skin. I thought the cardio, I thought his pace, I thought he wasn't going to be tentative like I was saying that Usman was the last few fights. But that just goes to show how great Leon Edwards is, and it also goes to show just how awful Colby Covington was tonight, man. It was one of the worst performances I've seen on anybody. And to be fair, I am giving a lot of that credit to Leon Edwards for him to keep the distance, for him to just, man, that man is so poised. That man just doesn't take any extra shots that he doesn't need to take. His counter striking was on point. The leg kicks all night, the teep kicks to the body. That man was perfect tonight. And the only thing that I think I could take away from Leon is, maybe his ego got in the way a little bit for that 5th round. Instead of making it a just clean, absolutely phenomenal unanimous decision. He did lose one little round at the end. But at the end of the day, you're up 4 rounds to nothing, even though that's how Usman got beat. I maybe don't want to see him take chances like on the grappling, but he did say he wanted to come out and prove a point with his wrestling, which he did. But, man, this is where we kind of got to be honest about Colby Covington right now, man. I really think we're going to sit back. I don't want to take anything away from Leon Edwards whatsoever. Phenomenal. He's just going to keep going on and being better. But, like, if you're Colby Covington right now, if you're a fan of Colby Covington, man, like, we got to look back. We got to be honest here, man. Hindsight's 2020 to be fair, but, like, this man he has no victory over an active top 15 right now. Jorge Masvidal retired, RDA retired, or damn near retired. I think he's got a couple more fights. I think he's still hanging on. Robbie Lawler retired. Usman been beat by Leon Edwards. I'm just sitting here saying, man, there is a world that maybe Colby Covington isn't as good as we once thought. Maybe Leon Edwards was right. Maybe he is one-dimensional. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's just looked good against older guys that are, starting to age and going out, 1 foot out the door a little bit. Maybe he is. Maybe that's just what it is. And to be fair, that's exactly what it looked like tonight. And I don't know about anybody, man, but how embarrassing. It'd be like me losing to John Jones is watching me, or like back in the day when I was a huge wrestling fan, if Goldberg was watching me or something. For Colby Covington to go out there and get his ass beat in front of his idol, Donald Trump in there, man, that had to have been embarrassing for anybody. I don't care if you love Colby or you hate him, whatever. That's one of those ones that I think is going to stick with him. he just got absolutely outclassed all night. Could have been the 2 years, could have been whatever. I'm gonna put a lot of it on Leon Edwards' shoulders for being just that good. But man, Colby Covington, I don't know if we want to see him fight again. Who's he gonna fight now? Seriously, who's he gonna fight? Shavkat Rakhmonov? He's gonna get absolutely destroyed. I don't want to see him fight Usman again. What are we gonna see? A Vicente Luque? I'm all in on that. I'm all in on the Jeff Neal stuff. I'm all in on a lot of these, but for when it comes to title shots or top twos or top three fights anymore, man, like, come on, man. You can't sit out for 2 years and then perform like that after all the drama and shit. It's just absolutely terrible, man. And then another person, too, that I think really hurt their stock, I'll get to Paddy Pimblett for sure, but a lot of people hurt their stock tonight. I will say it didn't hurt it that well, but like the first 12 minutes, 13 minutes of a fight, maybe you can even say the first 3 rounds, Alexander Pantoja, man, that is one of the most dangerous fighters I've ever seen. His aggression, his speed, just how quick he is to kind of just get on the ball and just get into his zone. That man is scary for anybody in the first 2.5, 3 rounds. I don't care what anybody says. That's going to be a tough out for anybody. 135, 145, 125. It does not matter. That shit. I don't care how tall he is, whatever. That man is dangerous. The kicks, the power, the speed, the way to just throw in to just instantly go into a transition of grappling or a takedown or stuff. The dude is scary. But I don't care what anybody says. If you watch that tonight, if you watch the last fight with Brandon Moreno, the goal against Alexander Pantoja is to survive the storm, and if you can just get your ass going on that 4th and 5th round and get on the bike and really start pushing the pace and get a finish, I think anybody in that 125, Manel Cape, freaking Makayev or Muhammad Makayev. I think a bunch of honestly, there's so many people on 25. Brandon Moreno could do it. If Davison Figueiredo decided to go back down, I think he could do it. Matthias Nicolau, I think he's a dog too. All these guys in 125. I really, really think a lot of these guys could give Alexander Pantoja problems in the later rounds. And shouts out to Alexander Pantoja, phenomenal fight, got the job done and whatnot. But I'm just saying, if I'm anybody at 125 right now, I'm chomping at the bit to get my hands on Alexander Pantoja, especially in them later rounds. And then another guy, man, that I think really, really hurt their stock tonight, man, Paddy Pimblett, dude. Oh, my God. Well, I think we're all kind of sitting here saying this is a lose-lose for Paddy Pimblett. You beat Tony Ferguson, cool. You beat a 47-year-old, Tony Ferguson, who's on an 18-fight losing streak. Or, you lose to Tony Ferguson? Oh, my God, you lost to 45-year-old Tony Ferguson who was on an 18-fight losing streak? Like, I don't think there was a single – he could have starched him in the first round. Oh, cool, you knocked out a 45-year-old no chin. Oh, you could have submitted him in any – there was no path of victory for Paddy Pimblett that he would have looked good tonight. And for him to sit there in that post-fight interview and to be sitting there saying how he went for broke after he rocked Tony in that first round and he gassed himself in that first round – like, are you joking me, man? After that Jared Gordon performance, I think this one might be worse for Paddy, even though it was a clear victory. You're sitting here telling me, man, you're so young, you're 27, 28 years old, whatever it is, you're telling me right now you can't even fight more than 7 minutes without gassing, 5 minutes without gassing. This is how many fights in a row now. And, let's not even pretend either that this man doesn't keep his chin straight up in the air like we always hear. That man... If you're anybody right now, 145, 155, 170, anybody in the ballpark of fighting Paddy Pimblett, I am lining up first. I'm lining up like it's for Jordans on Saturday night or Saturday morning. I'm out there, first person in line for 2 straight days camping out. Like, I'm getting my ticket. I'm getting my shoe. Like, man, I don't care what anybody says, dude. Paddy Pimblett is not. It's just another. I think it's the same way with Bryce Mitchell tonight. We see these prospects that get pushed and whatnot and loved and everything. And if you're not active like Shavkat Rakhmonov, if you're, like the Ian Garrys, even Ian Garry backed out, the Hamzats, if you're not active like those guys or committed like those guys, man, you're going to end up like a Bryce Mitchell. You're going to end up like a Paddy Pimblett. Just like, yeah, you was hype, but look at you now. You're either getting finished or you're looking terrible. You're putting on awful performances. Like, I truly was more impressed with Tony Ferguson tonight. And I know he's got the heart. I know he's got the grit. But to see that man on the bottom and throwing elbows and trying everything he possibly can and doing some weird, I don't know what the hell he was doing. He was trying to choke Paddy with his knee while he was, I don't know what the hell was going on, but at least he was trying. Paddy was just holding on for dear life to get to that, get to the belt. And I just thought, man, this was a huge chance for him to at least go out there and finish Tony and to at least say, hey, look what I'm doing. But he couldn't even do that and gassed and looked terrible. Paddy Pimblett is not going to last long. I'm telling you guys right now, unless he fixes a lot of things, man. I wouldn't be worried about fighting that guy at all if I'm 155, 145, 170. Like I said, it does not matter. I'm calling him out like I'm Leah Tapira at 145. Like, man, like he was calling out Patty forever. Like that man would. Could you guys imagine what a lot of these 145ers would do to Patty? I'm not joking. A lot of 155ers. Let that man fight a Rafael Fiziev. Let that man fight a Matisse Gamrot. Let that man fight a Justin Gaethje, a Dustin Poirier. Any one of these guys. Patty Pimblett's gonna get starched, man. He's got the power. He's got the grappling, but I don't know what it is, man. That cardio's terrible. The chin's terrible. I don't know what. I really don't know what it is. But he took a huge hit tonight. And yeah, it was cool seeing some guys, turn the clock back. Like it was huge to see Andre Fili get a crazy knockout. Crazy cool to see Cody Garbrandt. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of no chin Garbrandt, like it was cool to see him come out. And even though it was against a Brian Kelleher who's coming off a major surgery, it was absolutely phenomenal to see him turn the clock back and get a finish. And, like I said, with Josh Emmett absolutely starching Bryce Mitchell, phenomenal. Like, I really thought this card was going to be hot at first, but, the one thing, too, about Bryce Mitchell, man, it's just, like I said, that's just another prospect that just comes in here on short notice, kind of has some weird things going on with him in his personal life that comes to light. And then he's just taking fights and on 2 weeks' notice and just getting absolute starts. Like, ever since Leah Tapira, even though I called that shit, too, you guys can go back and watch, like, even though he absolutely exposed Bryce Mitchell, it's just been downhill ever since. I know he's got a win and whatnot in between, but Bryce Mitchell is not going to make it very far either. I hope I'm wrong, but you can't go in on a 2-week notice against a Josh Emmett and to walk into an overhand right like that. Like, man, that man was seasoned up. He got knocked out so crazy. But, the other thing I want to talk about for real is, man, Ian Garry, man. I didn't want to sit here and beat up on him. I've already done a video kind of sticking up for the guy, kind of talking about we shouldn't even be talking about his wife. Leave all that bullshit behind, man. The one thing I will say, though, for as much as this guy dishes out, for as much shit as he talks about Vicente Luque, he almost gets Neil Magny's kids taken from him. He's got the Geoff Neal mugshot on. Like, as much as that man dishes out, he can't handle shit. I don't care what anybody. Pneumonia this week? No, you pussied out of that fight because Colby Covington, because all these people in Vegas, because you're in weird territory. All these people are coming at you and your wife, talking shit to y'all, and you guys couldn't handle it. You couldn't handle the heat in the kitchen. There was already talks about y'all not making it to the press conference, not making it to media day because you guys are afraid. And all of a sudden, you got pneumonia. Like, man, we watch Dark Knight Rises, man. We don't believe in coincidences out here. I'm telling you guys right now, like, he got punked. And I think we're always going to remember UFC 296 when Ian Garry got punked out of a fight against Vicente Luque, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, probably. So, I'm still going to hold some, regret towards him and hold a grudge, I guess, a little bit because he did really ruin this fight card. Could you guys imagine, even if Ian Garry would have won out and won this weekend in, spectacular fashion, had a good performance against Vicente Luque, that would have been huge for him to sit there and be like, hey, I'll take the heat, come on, get these wins, maybe start some shit again. It could have been cool. Could have been absolutely awesome. But imagine, too, if Vicente Luque would have beat him, and then we're sitting here now kind of watching the post-fight where Ian Garry's trying to backtrack and all these things. We really missed out, man. I think that could have made the fight card a little better, but these are just one of them fight nights, man, that we get so excited for them. We get so hyped for them. Everything, the noise around it's so crazy, and it's almost like it just can't even deliver, even if it wanted to. It was almost doomed from the start, but what a year for the UFC. UFC 296 was all right, I guess, but, man, it's definitely one of the more disappointing ones of the year, even though the year was absolutely fire. But it's always your boy, Steven Moustaris. I can't wait to show you guys my new damn studio. I'm working on it right now as I speak. Maybe not right now at 2 a.m., but tomorrow, I'll be getting that thing going. I hope you guys like it. But as always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. Let's go, babe.